Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be tackling a ton of meal prep or food prep. I'm going to be prepping some breakfast ideas, lunch ideas, as well as some snacks. Lately I've been trying to eat a little bit healthier. I'm not saying that my diet is completely perfect by any means, but I am trying to eat a little bit healthier throughout the day. I haven't changed a whole lot as far as our nightly dinners go, but I figured at least I could tweak my diet during the day, make sure I'm eating a nice healthy breakfast, a nice healthy lunch, as well as snacking throughout the day and trying to make those snacks a little bit healthier. If this is your first time stopping by my channel, I just want to say welcome. My name is Caitlin. I do a lot of really quick and easy recipes on my channel, crockpot dinners, and other food related content. So definitely make sure you're subscribed if you're interested. I would love to have you. But we are going to get started with the granola. This is a really quick and easy granola recipe, very minimal ingredients. I have never tried it before, but the reviews were good and the recipe just looked really good. So we are going to give it a shot and start off with that granola. So let's get cooking. All right, so here is my weekly grocery haul. The total came to, I think it was like $62. I got a ton of fresh produce, veggies, fruits, trying to be a little bit healthier. So that is what we're kind of focusing on this week as far as groceries. I did get 2 types of bread. I got our normal bread, which is gonna be for the kids and for Kenny. And then for myself, I got this Country Hearth 12 grain bread. It's just a little bit healthier, so that's what I got for myself. I got this for like avocado toast, egg toast, things like that. And then I also got just some fresh spinach. I will use this throughout the week and then I will freeze the leftovers. I got a big head of some romaine lettuce for salads. Here are 2 English cucumbers. I will just slice these up for snacking on for the kids as well as for myself. I got 1 zucchini. I think I'm gonna be using this in my meal prep for tonight. I got 3 peppers, 2 red and 1 yellow. You guys know I get those every single week for the kids and for myself. I got 3 avocados here. One of these is gonna be used for some avocado ranch, which I'm probably gonna have to make either tomorrow or the next day just because these aren't completely ripe yet. But that is what one of these is gonna be used for, and then the rest I will use for like avocado toast and for other miscellaneous recipes. I got some lime juice. This is going to be for that avocado ranch that I was talking about. We just didn't have any lime juice on hand, so I had to pick that up. I got 3 Granny Smith apples. These were on sale. I think they were like 80 cents a piece, or no, 80 cents per pound. So they're really affordable, so I figured I would get a couple of those this time. I got 2 bags of these whole frozen strawberries. I've been doing a smoothie pretty much every day. I love to make a strawberry oatmeal breakfast smoothie. It's actually really good. I'll have to share that in an upcoming video because it's definitely been one of my favorites and my kids like it as well. So I got 2 bags of those frozen strawberries, and then I also picked up these sliced almonds. This is gonna be for the granola that I'm making. I've also been really enjoying yogurt parfaits with some granola. So I'm gonna make my own this week just to be a little bit healthier and not have any extra additives and ingredients. I got 2 Roma tomatoes. These are just going to be for slicing onto avocado toast, eggs, whatever I want to use those for, or maybe even for salad. I got some Greek vanilla yogurt. This is what I love to put in our smoothies. It's so good. I always opt for the Greek yogurt. And then I also got just some regular plain Greek yogurt that's not sweetened or anything. This is going to be for the avocado ranch dressing that I'm making for the salad. And then to go along with the avocado ranch dressing, I got some baby dill as well as some chives. I figured I would go ahead and get the fresh stuff. I'm sure it will be a little bit better in the dressing, and I really wanted to give that a shot. I picked up some blueberries as well as some strawberries. These are my kids' favorites, so I try to get these pretty much every week, especially if they are a little bit on the cheaper side and not super expensive. So I got those, and then I also got a bunch of bananas. I don't remember how many are in here, but there is quite a few bananas in here. I will just freeze these once they ripen too much, and then I will use them in smoothies. I got a small bag of this mozzarella cheese. Normally I get the bigger bag, but they were completely out of stock of that one, so I just grabbed 1 small bag because I don't really have any recipes that call for it, but I always like to have this on hand just in case, because sometimes I will add it to salads or whatever else I want to add it to. I got a bag of Gala apples. The kids and I have been loving apples lately. We do apples and peanut butter a lot in the afternoon. It's one of my kids' favorites and I love it as well. So it's a really good healthy snack. I got 2 cartons of eggs. They had just the smaller cartons this week, so that's what I ended up getting. And then for milk, I got 2 gallons of whole milk and then 1 gallon of 2%. My kids have been on a milk kick, so we've been going through a lot more whole milk lately. So that is what we have for milk, and that is our big grocery haul for the week. So to start off, I'm going to be making some vanilla granola. So I chose to use almonds in this recipe, and I did go ahead and play around with the measurements that were listed. So the recipe called for 2 cups of rolled oats and then 2 cups of chopped up nuts of choice. So I ended up doing about 3 cups of rolled oats, and then I did add in about 1 heaping cup of some sliced almonds, and then I also added in about half a cup of some raisins. So you can definitely play around with that if you want, but I thought this recipe turned out great with those amounts, so I definitely recommend it. And then I am also adding in about a teaspoon of cinnamon and just getting all of the dry ingredients mixed together. Now into a separate bowl that is microwave safe, I'm adding in a 1/4 cup of just some regular coconut oil, and then I threw this into my microwave for about 30 seconds and let that melt completely. Once it was melted, I added in a 1/3 cup of some honey, and then I put that back in my microwave for about a minute, and it was nice and hot. And then I'm going to be adding in my vanilla extract. So the recipe called for a full tablespoon of vanilla extract, but I was running low, so I only was able to add about 2 teaspoons, but definitely go ahead and add in that full tablespoon if you have it on hand, and then just mix all of that together. Now I'm just combining my wet ingredients with my dry ingredients and giving that a good mix together until everything is completely coated in the liquid mixture. Now this wasn't a super sticky mixture, and I wasn't sure how it was going to form into a granola, but it turned out really good. I have to say I loved this granola recipe. I just threw it onto some parchment paper for really nice and easy cleanup, spread this out into one thin layer, and then we're going to pop this right into the oven. I ended up baking this granola in the oven at 300 degrees for about 30 minutes, just until the edges were starting to get a little bit golden brown, and then you pull it out and it will turn nice and crispy. There's about 20 minutes left on the granola, so I figured I would go ahead and prep my apples for applesauce. So I actually have 2 Granny Smith apples to add kind of some tanginess. And then these smaller apples will be a little bit sweeter. Some of these are starting to get a little bit softer, so they're perfect for applesauce, and they're gonna be really good. My kids are gonna love it. Applesauce is always a hit in this house. So I'm actually just gonna throw these apples into the crock pot once I get them prepped. Applesauce is one of those foods that I don't always think to prep for my kids, but they actually love it. I very rarely buy applesauce from the store because my kids are not a fan of the stuff from the store, but they do really enjoy homemade applesauce. And there's also no need to usually add any sugar. I will just add a little bit of cinnamon there, and they think it is absolutely perfect. So if you have little toddlers at home or kids, I would recommend this one. They always seem to really enjoy it, and it's a really nice, healthy option. So when it comes to making my applesauce, I always like to peel the skins off, core them, and then I will just cut the apples right into some big chunks, pop them into the crock pot, and they are good to go. I do always add in a little bit of cinnamon, about a 1/4 cup of water, and that's usually about right for my recipe. And I cook this on high for about 4 hours. So the apples are already in the crock pot. Those should be done in about 4 hours or so, and then I'll blend them up. And then in the oven, I've got my granola, just a couple minutes left on that. I pulled the granola out of the oven probably about 5 minutes ago. It's just starting to kind of brown on the edges. This looks so good. It definitely didn't seem very crispy when I pulled it out, but I can definitely tell that now that it's been sitting for about 5 minutes, the edges are really starting to crisp up. So I'm gonna let this cool on the tray. I'm not gonna move it because I want it to kind of get crisp before I actually transfer it into a container and kind of break it up. I also prepped some ingredients for the carrot cake oatmeal muffin cups. I thought they would be perfect for like breakfast or snacks. So I just got some shredded carrot here. This is about to go bad, so I figured it'd be a good way to use it up. And then I've also got some chopped up pecans. The recipe called for walnuts, but all I had was pecans, so that's what I'm gonna be using. But now I'm gonna get this mixed up. Now for these carrot cake oatmeal muffins, I'm going to be mixing up all of the wet ingredients first. So here I'm just cracking 2 eggs into my mixing bowl, and then I'm adding in 2 cups of regular milk along with a 1/3 cup of some maple syrup, a little splash of vanilla, about a teaspoon, and then I'm just giving this a quick mix together before adding my dry ingredients. Now for my dry ingredients, it's very simple. I'm just adding in 2 cups of rolled oats. I did end up adding a little bit more later on, but I'm starting off with that. I've got about a 1/4 cup of some chopped up pecans that I had on hand, and then I'm adding in 2 teaspoons of some cinnamon, as well as 1 teaspoon of some ground nutmeg. And then here is the carrot that I shredded up. This is about 1 large carrot, and then I'm just giving all of this a quick mix together. Now it's time to add our wet ingredients to our dry, so I'm just mixing that together here. Now I will say that this was a more liquidy batter, so it's going to seem pretty liquidy, but it actually ends up working out totally fine. But I did go ahead and add in some raisins, which paired really well in these carrot cake muffins. Highly recommend adding in the raisins. And then I added in probably an extra 1/4 cup of some rolled oats, and I felt like that thickened it up just a little bit more. I ended up not adding in the coconut flakes, so I feel like that might have been why it was a little bit more liquidy. But now it is time to get our batter right into these muffin tins. So I did go ahead and line my muffin tray with some paper lining just to make it a little bit easier for the cleanup. And then I always like to spray them as well. I just find that it helps a ton when it comes to removing them from the paper. So the recipe said that this was only going to make 6 of them, but it ended up making 12. So I don't know if the recipe was wrong, but I definitely had enough room for 12 of them. So that is what I made on this day. Now I have to say I'm not always a huge fan of baked oatmeal, but these were really good. They had a ton of flavor, and I love that it also snuck a little bit of veggies in for breakfast or for a snack. I thought they were perfect, but I just baked these in a 350-degree oven for about half an hour. Maybe I put them in for a couple more minutes, but they didn't take too long. I've been meal prepping for about an hour, 15 minutes, hour and a half or so. Brinley's gonna wake up from her nap very soon, so I'm gonna go ahead and make some hummus real quick, and that's gonna be the last thing that I do during nap time. And then I'm gonna pick this up after the kids go to bed and finish the rest of the meal prepping. I usually will try to get as much done at nap time as I possibly can, and then I will finish up after they're in bed. So we're gonna make the hummus. If you guys have been around on my channel, you know that we live on hummus in this house. I love this recipe, so I'm gonna show you guys how I make it. And this is actually my first time making it in my new blender. I'm gonna show you guys the blender that we just ordered off of Amazon. So this is the blender that we ended up getting off of Amazon. I have had my old Ninja blender for so long. I've loved that thing, but the plastic just started to crack a little bit like around the base. So it was time to get a new one. So I made the investment. We got the Ninja Foodie blender. It was on sale. I got it off of Amazon. I think we paid around $150. So it's definitely more expensive, but I think it's worth it just because we do use our blender a lot. I made a smoothie in it this morning and it worked super good. So I'm excited to see how the hummus turns out in here. I'm actually going to be using the little smoothie bowl cup. So this is supposed to be better for doing really thick things like a smoothie bowl or hummus, sauces, things like that that are just a little bit thicker. So this is what I'm going to be trying to use for the hummus. I'll let you guys know how it turns out in this blender because it's probably going to be a little bit different since I'm used to my old blender. I think I could make this hummus recipe in my sleep just because I've made it so many times, but I'm gonna be starting off with 1 can of chickpeas, and you're gonna want to drain them off, and then you're actually gonna want to reserve that liquid. We're gonna be using it to blend this up a little bit later on. And then I'm also adding in 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. And then for the seasonings, this is the best part. You're gonna want 1/8 teaspoon of some ground cumin, 1/4 teaspoon of some paprika, 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, as well as 1/4 teaspoon of some black pepper. You can definitely adjust those amounts if you prefer, but that is always perfect in what I do, in my opinion. And then I'm also adding in a couple cloves of garlic. And now for the liquid here, I'm adding in that reserved liquid from earlier. I add in a little bit over 1/4 cup, but it just depends on your blender. You can do it a little bit thicker or a little bit thinner. You'll have to play around with it, but then we're just gonna blend this together. Now this was my first time using the little smoothie cup for this blender, and you guys, it worked amazing. That little part on top you can just twist and it pushes everything down towards the blade. This turned out so creamy and delicious. You'll see here in a second how it turned out, but oh my goodness, I have to say I was super impressed with this blender. This is gonna be a little bit different depending on your blender. You might have to add a little bit more liquid in there like I did with my old blender, but you guys, this one is super, super nice. I have to say I'm extremely impressed with this new blender. It works so good. This is probably the most creamy hummus that I've ever made. You can see it's super duper thick, which is hard to achieve in a normal blender, but this blender is kind of engineered to be able to do thicker things. This particular cup that it comes with, it has this part on top that actually twists, so you can manually twist this while it is blending, and that's gonna help push anything on the top down towards the blade, so you get that really nice creamy consistency without having to add any extra liquid. So if you guys are on the hunt for a good blender, highly recommend it. It wasn't the cheapest blender, but I feel like with blenders, you kind of get what you pay for. So I'm gonna have this one linked down below off of Amazon. Like I said, this is not sponsored. We bought this with our own money, but I do really like the blender so far, and I think you guys would enjoy it. So this is our family favorite all-time hummus recipe. We make this seriously like multiple times a week. My daughter loves it. We usually will eat it with peppers as well as cucumbers. Sometimes we will have crackers with it, but it is such a good hummus. It always only lasts for like a couple days in our fridge because we always gobble it up right away, but I definitely recommend this recipe if you haven't given this one a try yet. Now a little bit later, after everything had cooled off, I'm just popping it into some storage containers. So these muffins were such a hit. My kids really enjoyed them. They were perfect for snacks and for breakfast. I really liked having them in the afternoon for a snack just because I always need a little something, and this was a nice healthy option to have. And then this granola was so good. I highly recommend this recipe. It really crisped up nice. It was very crunchy and delicious. It wasn't a very flavorful granola. It wasn't very sweet or anything, but it was perfect for adding on top of a yogurt parfait, or if you just want to enjoy it with milk. But I definitely really enjoyed this granola recipe, and I'll totally be making it again. And this is the applesauce after cooking for about 4 hours. I always just like to take my hand mixer or my immersion blender and just blend it up right in the crock pot, or of course you can throw it in a regular blender, but my kids absolutely devour this applesauce. It's one of their all-time favorites. So I just got the kids to bed. I'm not gonna lie, I am super tired. I haven't had the best day and I just need to relax for the rest of the evening. I'm actually gonna start editing this video, but I'm gonna be prepping some lunch stuff, but I decided I'm gonna wait and do that tomorrow instead. I'm gonna be prepping some chicken salads just kind of for the week, and then I'm also gonna be making some avocado ranch dressing, which is gonna be really tasty. but my avocado actually is not ripe yet, so I'm hoping it'll be ripe tomorrow. So I just figured I'm gonna go ahead and prep all of the salad stuff tomorrow, and then I'll also be prepping all of the fruits and veggies at that time. Sometimes you just gotta know when to take a break. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take the rest of the evening off, and I will pick up this meal prep tomorrow. So now it's the next day and I'm working on prepping all of this fresh produce. I love to have all of our fruits and our veggies prepped and ready to go in the fridge just to make everything really nice and easy, so I can just grab a little snack for my kids and I don't have to worry about prepping it at that moment. But first I'm going to be making the salads. So I'm making an avocado and ranch chicken salad. This turned out so good. Highly recommend this salad combination. I loved it, and so did my son when he tried it. So I'm just starting off by cutting up my romaine lettuce and adding it into my salad spinner. This is the OXO salad spinner. I love this thing. I always like to add a little splash of lemon juice into my lettuce. I find that it helps with browning so the lettuce doesn't brown as much over the next couple of days. But then I'm just going to spin this lettuce out. So like I said, this is the OXO salad spinner. I've had it for, oh my goodness, probably like 4 months or so now. I really love it. If you don't have a salad spinner, it's really nice when it comes to prepping fruits and veggies. It just makes the whole process really easy, and I think it also makes everything last a little bit longer in the fridge as well. After my lettuce is all spun out and dried off, I'm just adding that into my food saver. I am going to be adding some of this into individual containers a little bit later on for salads, but the great bulk of this is just going to get popped into the fridge for having with dinner or for any other recipe that I need lettuce for. And then I'm moving on to cutting up my bell peppers. So if you guys have been around, you know that our family loves sweet bell peppers. My kids especially love them. My daughter loves to have them with hummus, and my son really likes to just have them plain, or he will also dip them in the hummus. So this is a staple in our house. I prep these every single week and we go through them very quickly, especially if we have hummus on hand, because that's our favorite way to eat them. One of my other go-to vegetables for my kids is cucumbers. So these ones are English cucumbers, so I don't peel them, but if they're the regular style of cucumber, then I will usually peel them and take the skins off. But I just love to have these in the fridge. I will often give them to my kids with like a morning snack with some crackers or some fruit, but they're just really quick and easy for me to grab for them. Now that I have all of the veggies prepped for the salad, I'm going to be making my avocado Greek yogurt ranch dressing, and you guys, this turned out so good. One little tip that I wanted to share is if you ever have an avocado that you need to ripen, you can put it in a brown paper bag with a banana and it will actually help it to ripen sooner. Just a little tip, because I know sometimes they are very hard when you get them from the store. So I'm just cutting open my avocado, scooping out the insides, and I'm adding them right into my little blender. Now for this recipe, I did choose to add the fresh herbs. So this is about 2 teaspoons of some chives, and then I also added in about 2 teaspoons of dill. Now you definitely can add the dry versions of this. I will have the full recipe linked down below. So if you don't have fresh on hand, that's okay. You can always add in the dried options. And then I'm also adding in 1 cup of some plain Greek yogurt. I just chose to get the individual cup at the store since I knew I wouldn't use the full container. For some extra flavor, I'm adding in a couple cloves of garlic, along with about 1.5 tablespoons of some lime juice. That added a ton of flavor. And then I'm also adding in 2 teaspoons of dried parsley, as well as half a teaspoon of some onion powder. And then you are going to want to add salt and pepper to taste. I started off with just adding a little bit, and then I add more later on. And then to thin it out, I'm adding in about 6 tablespoons of milk. Again, I did add a little bit more later on. Now on this new Ninja blender, I'm still getting used to the settings. This is my first day using it, but I chose to put it on the spread option. It's just one of the preset options on here, and then I just twisted the top to push any of the ingredients down towards the blade. It worked really well. This was definitely a very thick dressing if you just followed the recipe, so I ended up adding in a little bit of extra milk in there, and I did also add in quite a bit of extra salt and some pepper. You will see that it definitely did need to have the salt and pepper to make it taste more like a ranch rather than just the avocado. So I did blend this up a little bit more once I added that in there, and this turned out absolutely delicious. I really have been enjoying this ranch recipe. It turned out really good in the salad and with the chicken that I'm about to show you. Definitely recommend it. It's a great alternative to a ranch that's a little bit healthier. So the chicken that I'm going to be making for this salad is really simple. I just heated up some olive oil on the stove, and then I took one chicken breast and I cut it up into some bite-sized pieces, and then I'm just going to be seasoning this up, and that is it. I kept the seasonings very simple. I just did a little bit of garlic powder, and then I also did some Tony's seasoning, which is so good on chicken, and then I'm just cooking this up until it is completely cooked through, and this is going to be perfect on our salad. This is the romaine lettuce that I prepped a little bit earlier, but now I'm just adding this into a couple of separate containers. I chose to only make 2 salads on this day just because I was going to be the only one eating them. My husband wasn't going to be, so I just decided to do 2 salads for myself for the next couple of days. And then for veggies on my salad, I just kept it really simple with some cucumbers that I sliced into bite-sized pieces, as well as some red and some yellow peppers. One of my favorites, always a combination that I add onto my salad. And of course I'm adding on a little bit of that avocado ranch dressing. You guys, this one was so good. If you are looking for a healthier alternative to ranch, it was super good, and it paired perfectly with the chicken, especially with that Tony's seasoning on there that had just a little bit of kick to it. And then I am adding a little bit of cheese to my salad. I chose to use mozzarella just because I like something really mild with my salads. And then I'm just popping the lids on there, and I'm gonna get my chicken prepped and ready to go as well. So for the chicken, I personally like to warm up my chicken when it comes to adding it to my salad. If you want to eat it cold, then you can totally add it right into your salad bowl, but because I wanted to warm mine up, I kept it in a separate container so I could just warm that part of it up. But here are 2 salads ready to go for quick and easy lunches. Now the last thing that I'm going to be prepping in today's video is just washing some of the berries that I picked up. So here I have some blueberries and some strawberries. My kids had already gotten into the strawberries, so there's not too many of those. I always like to add in a little splash of vinegar to my water just to help clean the produce a little bit better. And then I give it a good rinse off before adding it into my salad spinner. I always like to use my salad spinner just because it helps really dry out the berries, so then they will store really good in the fridge. They won't get moldy or spoiled or anything like that. So that is what you see me doing here, and then I'm just adding those right into my food saver. But that is actually going to wrap up today's video. I hope that you all enjoyed this meal prep. If you would like to see another one of these in the future, definitely let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear from you guys. And if you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you. I share a lot of really quick and easy recipes on my channel, crockpot dinners, food prep, and other food related content. So if that is something that you're interested in, make sure you're subscribed. But I will catch you all in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.